Alright, hello guys, welcome to my channel. Ade are your bet predict. So in today's video we'll be exploring a particular technological tool which is based on artificial intelligence, and this particular tool can actually help in predicting correct score games which are used for all these normal double chance prediction games. So I tried to apply this particular tools in some of our yesterday games and most of it came out well. So in today's video I'll be guiding you guys on some of the predictions made by it. So on our Telegram channel yesterday, we applied this particular tool on some predictions across some leagues, and fortunately, few games out of it played correct score correctly. For example, the match between Valladolid and Villarreal came out well with 1-2. Villarreal winning correct score games of 1-2, and also looking into the correct score of Everton versus Fulham. The correct score prediction of the straight draw 1-1 correct score prediction also came out well. Actually, Brighton Wolf game would have also been a correct score game of 2-1, but unfortunately the game ended up a straight draw at the end of the game. So now in today's video we'll be looking into some of the games that we have today again, and we are going to apply this particular tool on it again, and let's see how it goes. Alright, so the first league that I'll be looking into in today's video happens to be the under the Spain league, which is the La Liga. And looking at the game, we have the first game here, Leganes versus Celta Vigo. And looking at the comment of this particular AI tools, we can see that Celta Vigo has the edge here, though both teams struggles with scoring, expect a narrow win for Celta. Actually, when it comes to using this particular particular tools, I don't like going for the away team, because that is just one thing about me when it comes to predicting games. I always try my best to avoid playing my games on the away team. Now, looking at the next game, you can see that it's a very tight game, and both teams have been inconsistent. With a draw, a draw seems like the safest bet given their similar levels. Actually, this particular straight draw games can also be tricky. You have to avoid things like this. And looking into games of Real Betis and Atletico Madrid, actually in this particular game, Atletico Madrid should actually have the upper hand when it comes to winning this particular game. But Real Betis too, they are very they are strange. They are like a dangerous team to battle with the away team here. So that's why most times I always want to try and avoid playing my games on the away team. And most times, looking at the comments, you can see that the two said Betis might score at home, which shows that this particular game can end up even in Real Betis winning the game. So now the only game I can actually suggest for you guys to go for as double chance is the match between Real Sociedad versus Osasuna. As it is said that Osasuna is a strong they are strong at home, and Osasuna might struggle against their discipline play. Real Sociedad should control the game. So looking at the correct score for it, this happens to be a 2-0 correct score games, which shows that Real Sociedad should actually have a straight win without even conceding a goal in this particular game. So for this kind of situation, you can actually go for home team or draw, that is Real Sociedad to win this particular game or draw. Alright, now so going for the next game, in these particular situations, we have the first game as Parma versus Empoli, and both teams have vulnerabilities, making a draw the most likely outcomes. If you observe very well, this particular game is like kind of unpredictable for this particular tool, and for me, I would just advise for you guys avoid this particular game. And looking into Lazio versus Genoa, Lazio is stronger, especially at home, but Genoa could make it challenging Lazio to win by a slight margin. Actually, looking at this particular comment, I don't feel like going for this particular game because of the slight margin there, and also the stress that Genoa can actually give Lazio to win this particular game. Actually, home or draw would have been the best for this particular game, but you can play it at risk. So now looking at the next game, we have Monza Venezia. So looking at it, Monza has a slight home advantage and Venezia might struggle to break them down. Okay, actually looking at this game, I can actually say that okay, fine, we can go for the home team here, which is a Monza to win this particular game or draw. And this particular game is a game that I would really like to avoid, because looking at it, a classic matchup with both teams in form. Expect a high intensity balanced game with goals on both sides. Okay, probably maybe both teams to score. And but looking at it seems like a game that will be very very tough, because looking at their stats and looking at their last previous games against each other, we can see that sometimes they don't always score goals very well, because of their because of both teams' ability to to hold their opponents, and it's a very tough games. So let us just avoid the games, and probably the only games I would like to recommend for you guys to go for as double chance happens to be the Monza versus Venezia, and also kind of Lazio versus Genoa. Alright, so the next predictions goes under the Danish Super League, and this happens to be the Denmark leagues. Alright, so looking at the first game here, we have the match between Brøndby versus Copenhagen, and looking at it, FC Copenhagen is in strong form and is generally a solid team in big matches. And Brøndby may score due to home advantage, but Copenhagen quality could make the difference. This particular game, as I told you guys earlier, that I don't like going for the away games and as double chance, so I'm going to avoid this particular game for you guys. And looking at the next game, you can see that the prediction there happens to be a straight draw, which is 1-1. This could be a balanced game with both teams likely struggling to dominate. A draw seems like a plausible outcome, but let us just skip it. And looking at the last game that we have under this particular league, the prediction there happens to be a 2-0 games. Viborg has a better squad and is playing at home. Actually, I always value home advantage stuff very well when it comes to football or any other sport. I always value home advantage very very well. So looking at it, we can see that the away team may struggle to create many chances, which shows that the home team will surely dominate in this particular game. So for this particular prediction under this league, you guys can actually go for the third games that is here, as that was predicted as correct score of 2-0, and you can just go for the home team to win this particular game or draw. Alright, now moving on to the next league in this particular video, we can see that Ecuador League, that is their Premier League. And looking at the first game that we have here, Makara tends to play solidly at home, expecting narrow victory. So looking at this particular comment of narrow victory, I don't really go by it. Surely the home team should actually win or draw this particular game, but the comment here are focusing on these particular factors of narrow victory. It shows that this particular game may be a tough game for the home team. So now moving on to the next game, which happens to be El Nacional versus Orange. The home team could have the upper hand given their current form and home advantage. Actually, this information is not really enough for me to conclude that okay, this particular home team should actually win this particular game, but actually you can go for the home team to win this particular game or draw. And looking at the third games here, we have it that the home team is strong at home and has an attacking edge, likely securing a comfortable win. So these particular factors that focusing on emphasizing on the comfortable win, it shows that the home team should actually have the upper hand in this particular game. And recommending a prediction for this particular game happens to be the home team to win this particular game or draw the match. Alright, now moving on to the Belgian Premier League, and looking at the first game here. This particular first game that you guys are seeing, when I check the AI tools, the AI actually recommend that this particular game should be avoided because of its unpredictable nature. This can be a very tough game to predict, and I would just say that probably we should just avoid any double chance predictions on it. Now moving on to the next game, which happens to be Antwerp versus Lech. Actually looking at the stats, I realized that the home team should actually score a goal, truly at least a goal in this particular match, because in the last previous games against other teams, they were able to at least have an average goals of 2 goals, and also in the last previous games against each other, they were able to score an average goals of 2 goals. So surely the home team should actually have the upper hand in this particular game, and also should win or draw in this particular game. So they said the home team has a strong defense and may manage a narrow victory against resilient Saint Lige side. Actually, it shows that the away team should also give this particular home team a problem when it comes to scoring or winning this particular game. So surely it shows that this particular game can end up in a draw or home to win this particular game. So now moving on to the next game, which happens to be Gent versus Genk. I can't suggest to you guys to go for this particular game, even though they say that the away team is in form, and kind of this game can actually end up the way it was predicted, but I don't want to go for it. Now moving on to the fourth game, which happens to be Real Union. The prediction for that one is 2-0 for the home team, and it says the home team is strong at home and should secure a win over the away team. Actually, this particular comment is not well detailed enough for us to really go for the games, but looking at it, it was predicted as the home team to win this particular game without conceding any goals. So going for the prediction on it, I think you guys can actually go for the home team to win this particular game or draw, or you guys can avoid it. Alright, the next prediction is under the German Bundesliga, that is their second league, and looking at it, you can see two at the front of the Bundesliga. So the first game that you guys are seeing here happens to be a straight draw of 1-1, and it says both teams are close in skill, and this may be a cautious game with few goals. Just make sure that you avoid this particular game. And looking at the next game, which happens to be the number 2 of the predictions, it shows that the home team has been strong at home, and the away team might struggle to break their defense. Okay, yes. And looking at the prediction on it, it happens to be a 2-0 predictions, which shows that the home team are not expected to concede a goal. But in German games, I'm not sure about that, if that will not always happen, because the score goes very well there, and it is easy for them to make both teams to score stops. But with this particular prediction for the number 2 games, it shows that the home team to win this particular game or draw. Now moving on to the next game, which happens to be the third games. Actually, the away team might actually win this particular game, but I would just suggest that we move away from it. But if you have the confidence of playing your games on the away teams, looking at the comments, because they said the away team may edge out the home team, but it's likely to be a close match. Can you see that? This one could be worth avoiding if looking for safer bets. So this particular tools already suggests that you guys should just avoid this particular game. In case you want to bet yourself, you want to bet saves. Now let us move on to the next game and the next league. Alright, so the next league is still under the German league, and looking at it, happens to be the third league from the major leagues. And looking at it, the first game that we have here says the away team should actually win this particular game without conceding any goal. Actually, for the fear of playing my games on the away team, I would like to avoid this particular game, even though it shows that the away team should have the upper hand in winning this particular game, because it said the away team has a good chance of securing a win, especially given recent performance. Okay, based on their recent performance, but yes, yet I don't think I would like to go for this particular game. Moving on to the next game, which happens to be the Stuttgart second league. Also, they are favoring the away team, and saying that the away team form suggests they will be the dominant side. Expect a few goals from them. Okay, I don't think I will go for it. So for the last game here, we have this is a tricky game to call, as both teams are fairly evenly matched. I would recommend the coaches here. Okay, make sure that this particular game, in case even at all you want to attempt predicting it, just make sure that you avoid it, because the two self cannot even predict this particular third games at all. So just let us move on to the next league. Alright, now so the next league now that we have happens to be under the Greece, which happens to be the Greece Super League. And looking at it, the away team happens to be the favorite team to win this particular game here, which happens to be Olympiacos, and they said Olympiacos should be able to control this game with their offensive power. Okay, actually this kind of comment is trying to convince me, but yet if you guys feel like okay, you want to go for it, you are fine, you are good to go for it as draw or away. But for me, I'm kind of afraid of going for the away teams. Now moving on to the next game, which happens to be number 2, and it says the home team might narrowly beat the away team at home, but it could be a close match. Actually, please let us avoid this particular game. Now moving on to the third games, it says the home team tends to be the dominant at home, and they should score a few goals against the away team. Okay, yes, let us think of going for the home team here as a win or draw. And for the last game that we have here, a low scoring game likely in favor of the home team. Yes, actually I'm in support of this, because in Greece league most time they don't usually score goals very well. If you are looking for leagues, one of the leagues that you can go for under 3.5 goals, Greece league happens to be the best league to go for and predict your games as under 3.5 goals. So for the third game and the fourth game under this particular league are games that we can go for home team or draw. So now let us move on to the next league. Now moving on to the Netherlands league. So we have our games from Utrecht versus Feyenoord, and looking at it, when I check the start off for this particular game, I realized that the home team is also in form, the away team is also in form. In the last previous games, the home team were able to at least score average of 2 goals while playing at home, which shows that this particular game can be a very tough game based on my own view. But after using this particular tool, it says the away team is in excellent form, scoring heavily. Utrecht has been inconsistent, making this a favorable matchup for the visitors. Actually, they are visitors, so I'm skipping it from my own side. Actually, you guys can actually go for it. I don't know. But looking at the number 2 games of it, we have the prediction as home team to win this particular win this particular game without conceding at all. Actually, the home team is very solid at home, and away team struggles against stronger sides. So a clean sheet for the home team looks likely, which shows that there is a big assurance for the home team to win this particular game or draw. Now moving on to the third game, which happens to be the last game. Which happens to be the third game under this particular league. So we have the Ajax to win this particular game with 3 goals to 1, and looking at it, that despite Ajax shaky start to the season, yes, and that is truly because Ajax didn't start well this season. They are still dangerous, especially at home. So the away team could grab a goal, but Ajax could outscore them. Actually, they said the home team can concede in this particular game. I'm thinking of probably this particular game can be tricky for the home team in some way, but let me just think of avoiding this particular last game and the first game here. Actually, there are games that are supposed to end up the way it was predicted. For this number 1, the away team should win or draw. For this number 3, the home team should win or draw. But the one I'm sure most of, it happens to be the number 2, which happens to be the home team to win this particular game or draw. Now moving on to the last game under this particular league, which happens to be Akma and Go Ahead Eagles. So looking at it, it says that the prediction for this particular game happens to be over 2.5 goals. As you guys are seeing it, both teams are capable of scoring, but the home team's superior quality should see them through. This one has the potential to be high scoring games. So in this particular game, in case if at all I'm going to go for this particular games, I'll just recommend for you guys to just go for the over 1.5 goals options. But most times of recent, I'm trying to avoid predicting my games on the over goals. So you guys can actually explore these games as over 1.5 goals to be on the safe side. Alright, so the next prediction is under the Italy second league, which happens to be Serie B predictions. And looking at it, we have it that the home team should actually win this particular game by 2 goals to 1. And the comment there happens to be that the home team has been in decent form and should edge out the away team in what could be a closely contested match. The fact that this particular AI tools mentioned closely contested games, I'm trying to avoid this particular game because of that comment alone. So looking at the next game, this actually clearly state that we should avoid the game because this match is tricky with both teams capable of springing surprises. It's safer to avoid predicting an outcome here, so we are avoiding these number 2 games at all costs. So now moving on to the third games, that we have Sampdoria and Montova. Prediction for it happens to be the home team to win this particular game with 2 goals to nothing because of the home team experience and superior squad should see them comfortably take this game. So the prediction for the third games under this particular league happens to be the home team to win this particular game or draw. So we already have a double chance games in this particular league also. Now moving on to the next. So this happens to be our last league in today's video, and if you guys are reading through the comments, you guys can make your own personal decision, and I want you guys to think and pick your games wisely. Because looking at this particular prediction, the first one that I'm seeing here, it says the home team should actually win this particular game by 2 goals to 1. But looking at the comment section, it says this particular game might be a close match because it can be a very tough games to end up with. But looking at the last game here, it says the prediction for this particular game happens to be over 2.5 goals. But for me, I will just recommend for you guys to go for the over 1.5 goals because it says both sides are unpredictable, yes, which is that anybody can win in this particular game and the game can end up in a draw, and this could end up being an entertaining match with goals on both sides, that is both teams to score. So for me, I would just recommend for you guys, instead of going for both teams to score, you should just go for the over 1.5 goals prediction. So thanks for watching, see you guys in our next video. Don't forget to like our video, drop your comment in the comment section, and also in case you want to access some of this particular prompting, the way you can prompt this particular message in order to get your own prediction. Also, you can also join us on our social media platform. Don't forget to join our WhatsApp VIP group, and don't forget to join our Telegram channel for daily tips and daily notifications. So thanks for watching, see you guys in the next video. Bye.